Yo, what's going on everyone? Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game. And today starts off our look at the Road Rash series, starting with Road Rash for the Sega Genesis.
Released in 1991 on the Sega Genesis, this was developed and published by EA. The first 3 games in the series came out on this console, and the original Road Rash wound up getting enhanced versions on consoles like the 3DO, the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, Windows, but it also had ports to consoles like the Master System, the Game Gear, the Game Boy, so it came out on a ton of shit. This is the game that I grew up with. Let's get into it.
So graphically, what can we say? If you've seen any other type of racing games that are vertically scrolling, you know what to expect, but this one does surprise us in some areas. For one, the screen moves pretty goddamn fast, and you can have a lot of things going on. As you're racing through some of these different tracks, you're going to have livestock, stones, drunk drivers, cops, all types of different obstacles on the screen. And
Drunk drivers?
Yeah, look at this driver. Look how he's swerving into your lane.
Alright.
But the kind of minor gripes Jim and I do have is the track speed do get repeated after the first circuit. Sure, they extend them, but it's really all kind of the same. And all the other bikers, for some reason, are always the same color. It's minor gripes, but it's something that we noted. So as you see from our scores, we both gave it a 6. It's above average because what is there does look good, and there's a lot of nice coloring going on. We just wish there was a little bit more variety. And as far as beer, I'm gonna add 1. For that goddamn drunk driver.
Alright, the sound. Well, yeah, let's start it this way. This is how the game sounds when you don't have the music on. Pretty goddamn annoying, right? Well, this is how the game sounds with the music. So much better. So long story short, we both gave it 7s because we love the music in this game. You know, it's all rock-based, it's up-tempo, it's just fun music, and it really sounds like what EA was doing in the early 90s. It fits the game perfectly. The sound effects that you get are okay outside of that god-awful motorcycle sound, but luckily they had the foresight to kind of drown it out with the music to make it not annoying. So, points to them for that, and as far as beer goes, I'm going to add 1 beer for that god-awful motorcycle sound.
The control in this game is real simplistic. You have A for braking, B for accelerating, and C for hitting the shit out of your opponents. There is some variety with your attacks. If you hold up while attacking, you'll do a sweet backhand, and if you hold down, you can kick them. Although, why you would be able to kick someone and still ride the bike, whatever. At the end of the day, you're still just probably going to use your regular attack, and that's the best way for you to be able to pick a club off of someone, but that's getting more into gameplay, and I'll let Jim have his glory. Jim and I actually had no real issues with it. There is a delay with all the attacks though, so when you hit it, it's not always immediately going to happen, but like we've said about other games, we grew up with this, so we're used to it. It doesn't bother us as much. The turning is very crisp, and depending on your bike, it'll be easier or worse. But that's just more of a stage mechanic thing.
That's part of the goddamn gameplay!
Oh yeah. Well, fuck Jim. So anyway, as you see from our scores, we both gave it 8s. It's just that little bit of lag that gets annoying, and sometimes when you're trying to turn the bike, it can be a pain in the dick. And as far as beer, I'm gonna add 3 beers for your variety of hits, so you can knock out people like Alex, Gunther, Viper, and fucking Rude Boy.
Every night, Rude Boy, can you tell me up? Every night, Rude Boy, can you tell me up?
You are not Rihanna.
I wish I was.
Alright, if you want to be Rihanna, then I'll be Chris Brown.
Alright, the gameplay. Well, kind of like old games like Super Hang-On. Well, Brian kind of covered it in the control. You just move left to right, and the game automatically scrolls towards you. The real gimmick, though, is the combat. In this game, there's really only one weapon, and it's the club. But boy, when you steal it off someone, it is a sweet feeling. You progress through every level, and the better you do, the more money you get. What do you do with money? You buy better bikes. And you need these bikes because they are integral in progressing through the later races. The circuits kind of repeat themselves like Bri says, but every single time they do get longer, they do get harder. There's a lot more hazards, and your enemies go way faster. There's also a cool little mechanic where if you beat up on people more often, they actually get more aggressive towards you. So there's a nice little give and take when it comes to the actual combat aspect of it. During races, you're going to come across police officers. And if you get knocked off your bike around a cop, guess what? You're busted, you're going to jail, you lose a shitload of money, and you automatically lose the race. Luckily, if you have money left over though, you can use it to break yourself out of jail, which is important. And also, your bike can take damage. So if your bike gets trashed and you don't have money to repair it, guess what? It's just like with the cops, and if you can't break out of jail, it's game over. Now, I can't say that there's a real ending to this game, but when you beat the last track, you're the best at the game, I guess? I don't know. There's no real story here. It's all about the motorcycle action. So when it came to scores, we both gave it 7s. It may not be the deepest racing game in the world, but it sure is fun, and what it does well. As far as beer goes, I'm feeling a little thirsty, so I'll add 2 beers. One for the ability to get your bike broke, and one for the ability to be busted by the damn police!
As far as originality, this game didn't really bring a whole lot new to the motorcycle racing game genre. It's very similar in gameplay style to Hang On, and there's other games like Outrun that have obstacles, but the mechanic that this series is most famous for is the brawling. Now, we did a little bit of research, and it still seems like this is the first one to bring it to motorcycles, where you just beat the shit out of each other, and it's a mechanic we all love about this game. So, other than the fact that this is the first in the Road Rash series, we couldn't give it a ton of points. So, we had to settle on a 5, which we think is fair, because really, other than punching someone, that's all that's new for this game. And you know what? We don't even need no beer. This game just wanted to do one thing right, and that's adding in violence. Because violence makes everything better. Right, Jim?
Hell yeah! Ah! No, it doesn't! Replayability. We kind of already hit on this, and the replayability really comes from going through the increasingly harder levels, figuring out which bikes work best for you, and grinding out money in races to get the best bikes. Nothing really too much here, but luckily, the game's so goddamn fun, you're just gonna play it over and over again. Hell, it inspired me to become a motorcycle racer. Ah, what?
You are no motorcycle racer.
Yeah, that's right. The game didn't inspire me, just like violent games don't inspire people to be violent. Right, US government? Anyway, what? Ah, what?
Stop trying to make points and get to the goddamn end.
It was a good point! Anyway, there's also a 2-player mode, kind of? You don't get a split screen mode, but you kind of get the Mario and Luigi 2-player mode, where each player takes a turn. So that kind of sucks. And unlike what we normally do, we didn't really give it any points for that, because that's barely multiplayer. So when it comes down to it, Brad gave it a 4 and I gave it a 5. And as far as beer goes, I'll just give it 1 beer for that damn government.
So overall, this is just still a really fun racing game. It does suck that there's no true 2-player, which will get fixed by the second game, but it's something that if you have some spare time and you just want to dick around, you can have fun. But like Jim mentioned, it's not exactly the deepest game, and it's not a ton of variety. It has its flaws, but it still has a special place in our hearts. So as you see from our scores, I gave it a 6, Jim gave it a 7. Honestly, a lot of that score right there is probably just nostalgia. When we combine all of our scores together, it rounds out to a 6.8. We know hardcore fans of this series may think, hey, it should be higher up on the list for its historical importance, yada yada yada, but as anyone who watches enough of our videos know, we kind of try and leave that shit out of these reviews, just giving it the fairest score possible, and it fits it well. When it comes to beer pairing, we had to choose the Lagunitas Censored Copper Ale. This is a delicious beer, and we want to pay a special homage to the Road Rash series and pick a brewery from California. So pick this up, pair these two together, and good luck trying to beat this hard son of a bitch. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.